Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out 2-sentence horror. Story 1. NOV23. Deciding I was too drunk to drive, I opted to ride in the back seat instead. I don't know why I didn't think to stop and put the car in park before climbing back here with my friends. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 2. The new augmented reality game promised to bring characters to life in your own surroundings. As I aimed my phone at the mirror, I saw my reflection grin menacingly, realizing the game had conjured a sinister doppelganger lurking in the digital realm. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 3. I gave my daughter my old ADHD medicine, but she still talks to herself all the time. I heard her complaining about itching when she was by herself. Maybe it would help if I gave her a bit more than normal. Story 4. My father said we needed a ham for Christmas. I wondered where my sister went. She tasted just like mother. Story 5. I sat in shock, holes spread throughout my body, bleeding from every original and newly created orifice but not dying. Double or nothing? Asked the demon, its glowing red eyes staring at me with interest. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 6. I had bungee jumped hundreds of times before, so wasn't nervous. But as the ground got closer and the familiar tug of the elastic once it reached full length never arrived, I tried to remember if in my exit meant I had clipped myself in. Story 7. As the aliens descended down to our planet, many hoped that these beings would be similar to humans. For the sake of our species, I hope that they are not. Story 8. After months of drought, we were overjoyed to see rain finally pouring from the sky. When my mother went out to enjoy the fresh rain, we were forced to watch helpless as her skin boiled off. Story 9. Hell isn't so bad. Neither me or my cellmate made a move on the hammer Satan left between us. But after a million years the light bulb starts to flicker. Story 10. Get in the time machine, my friend. It'll plop you down next Wednesday. That was the last time I talked to someone in the last year here. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 11. DEC23. I was mildly concerned this morning, waking to simply knowing that the rapture had happened and only the purest of souls had deemed worth saving. Doubly so, on the only ones reported missing, being the world's Roombas and some of their families. Story 12. DEC23. I did my part, holding my great-grandchild in the ceremony, rejoicing with my family as the death prophet made up an end for her most of us could only dream of. I made a deal to go along with these fake rituals ever since the day they predicted my own end as the last human to die of natural causes. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 13. I'm pansexual and have always been attracted to all kinds of different people, but thankfully my parents and friends have always been supportive. But the best thing is that it's made it harder for the FBI to profile me. Story 14. My neighbor's awful children threw rocks at my cat last night. I dealt with the 3 bodies long before the police showed up at my door, but it occurs to me just now that there's probably DNA in the litter box. Story 15. After years of research, they offered mind uploading as a chance at immortality. As the machine whirred to life, I realized the truth too late. It wasn't transferring consciousness, it was duplicating it, leaving my original self trapped in a decaying body. Story 16. When the demands of 10 million went unanswered, the hooded figure walked towards the teary-eyed man with a nail clipper. With one big snip, the man's left eyeball bled. Story 17. It's really a painful feeling when your kids grow out of that cuddly phase and begin to want less and less to do with you. That's why I paid for a subscription to an age-cap chemical therapy program, so my babies can stay adorable for as long as I want. Story 18. I was taught that you always protect your wife against harm and insult. Yet, as the drunk man continued to bleed and seize on the asphalt. It was obvious my life was about to change forever. Story 19. I was so confused with the looks I got while wearing a leather dress to my friend's wedding. I mean, it was from the skins of all her exes, so the groom should thank me. Story 20. There are two things I don't like about watching TV with my girlfriend. The window making it hard to see the TV, and her cuddling up with her husband. Story 21. Can you pass me the wrench, Dad? I said while working on our car. I was sad to remember the accident, but alarmed when it slid towards me from grotesque hands. Story 22. In the darkness I heard a soft whisper coming from the closet. As I opened the door, I saw Yo Daddy's sweet ass standing there. Story 23. I've always found it so relaxing making sandcastles alone. Until I had a sinking feeling something was wrong. Story 24. I opened my window as a squirrel approached. I was terrified as the squirrel blinked my full legal name in Morse code. Story 25. His Grindr profile says 3 feet away. I'm alone in the morgue. Story 26. Staring at the monster I was locked in here with, I couldn't help but cry my eyes out. What is 31x50? Why can't you just be normal like your sister? Story 27. The snow fell hard, but it wasn't the weather that worried me. It's the glass that surrounds my entire world and the little hands that careless hold me high above the ground. Story 28. I've always tried to keep my work and family life separate. However, as I loaded my son's lifeless body onto the stretcher, I realized I had failed. Story 29. Casting her gaze towards the darkened clouds churning above, her hollow eyes grew misty as the wind battered the trees. A droplet of crimson hit her cheek, and she knew this was the end. Story 30. DEC-23. For my third wish I would like to stop seeing double, I said to the genie in desperate hope to fix my crummy vision. An hour later, I am still looking for one of my twin daughters. Story 31. The hundreds of people in the dream weren't shouting, "Wake up!" The first word was pull. Story 32. Being 8 months pregnant has been harder on me than I've expected, especially living alone. I'm so thankful that a couple from Craigslist are insisting on dropping off their unused baby items. Story 33. I have no problem with the taste of fake meat. I just wish I hadn't found it in the person I just killed. Story 34. Wow, you should play God, I said to my drama teacher after hearing her read for the part. A few days later, as all of us sit cowering under our desks, I can honestly say I hadn't expected her to take me so literally. Story 35. The rain continued for days, seemingly unending. Only after a week of torrential rainfall did I suddenly realize my parents never taught me how to swim. Story 36. The best trick I taught my dog was to stand on his hind legs for a treat, but I used the last one this morning. It's been 4 hours, but I haven't moved a muscle. He won't stop staring at me, and it is still standing up. Story 37. After decades of searching, I finally found my birth parents. I guess my wife's wish of marrying a man like her father came true after all. Story 38. My mother had always been a bit odd and superstitious. She had lit candles for my late father and brother before their untimely deaths. It wasn't until she began muttering the word next over and over again each time she would look at me did I finally realize who the third candle was for. Story 39. After a long tiresome shift at the hospital, there's nothing I love more than kicking back and partaking in my favorite hobby. As I got to work my latest little experiment, I felt my stress wash away as she screamed in pure agony while I cut up her flesh and molded her body into a more creative form. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 40. I ran in a panic when my neighbor's son had told me that someone had fallen into the old town well. My fear only grew as I was pushed into the dark, damp hole, falling to my death and seeing the rotting remains of my predecessors. Story 41. I never understood why my wife always insisted on being the big spoon. But when I wrapped my arms around her sleeping form, I felt hot breath on my face as her hair moved to reveal a large grin. Story 42. I had woken up earlier than was expected but lay on the table completely still and quiet. No matter how terribly I wanted to tell the surgeon, my body wouldn't let me. Story 43. My angel. I put my 3-year-old daughter in my basement, so no one could take her away from me. It's now her 18th birthday, happy birthday my perfect angel. Story 44. As my demon summoning skill, I grew suspicious at how focused they were on being sent back to hell. The last one quite reluctantly confessed that they feared Earth because it is the place where the worst torments of all happen. Story 45. I'd never seen anything like it. That sweet little girl turned into a weak robotic zombie. When her seemingly drugged parents refused to listen to reason, I knew that something was wrong. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 46. Upon the 7th shirt she sniffed and nodded, making the scientists snicker in derision. 8 months later, the patient whose shirt it was called to let them know she was right. Story 47. My wife kept the serial killer away. Now that she's dead, I can do whatever I want. Story 48. I sat in the recovery room from my transplant listening to a man screaming about how his daughter needed a surgery. I woke up in the middle of the night to him standing over my bed with a sharpened spoon saying, "I'm sorry, but I promised her a new kidney one way or another." Story 49. They say that as long as remains of the deceased were separated that the soul cannot find peace. As I sit here staring at my own grave, I regret ever becoming an organ donor. Story 50. I had just come to terms with my mother dying in a car crash. But seeing the woman's head smashed open and hearing her kid screaming in the back seat made me reach for the gun in my glove box once more. Story 51. Please, I have a daughter, the woman begged, looking at the gun. Don't worry, it's not for you, the man said, tears streaming down his face as he raised the gun. Story 52. I used to despise running. All I ever wanted was to sit down. But ever since the kidnapper locked me in his basement, I've yearned for nothing but to run away. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 53. I traced the source of the haunting melody to an old music box in the attic playing a tune I had never heard before. The chilling part wasn't the unfamiliar melody, it was the fact that the music box had no mechanism, yet the haunting notes continued to play. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.